All rise. Hear ye. The Hamblen County Commission is now in session. The Honorable Chris Cutshaw presiding. Please remain standing.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for being here to our regularly scheduled monthly meeting this Thursday, May 23rd, 2024. As we begin tonight, we would like to call on Commissioner Joe Huntsman, please, to lead us in prayer.
As well as you know, Monday is Memorial Day, special day where we honor our dead. I want to tell you a quick story about my dad. My dad was 15 years old, an orphan, and he had an uncle by that he was 17 and joined the Navy. And in 1945, in May, he had served 20 years, and he was on the USS Roundup aircraft carrier in the Pacific, near Iwo Jima. And the aircraft carrier got hit one time in his lifetime with the Japanese kamikaze and exploded on top of the deck, killed 45 soldiers, including my dad. And this is a special day for me. It always will be a special day for me because I was a 5-year-old boy and I lost my dad. And freedom is not free. If you ever pray, I appreciate it. Father, we just love you so much for who you are. And we thank you, Father, that you take care of us and that you are who you are. And I just ask you to guide us and direct us in everything we do and help us always to do what's right for you, Father. And guide and direct all the commissioners here and help us give the honest answers. We want to do the best we can. And be with us in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Commissioner Harville.
Your face flag, please. Salute. Pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Before we call the roll, one thing for everyone. There is a sign-up sheet if you would like to speak to this commission tonight and have you don't have to, but if you want order, to be in order, there's a sign-up sheet at the rear of the room that you may do so. Sign in. Also, there's a copy of our local rules that we operate with that coincide with our Roberts Rules of Order that we abide by. That said, Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
I hit it. 13 present.
And we do have a quorum. Thank you very much. We'll move right on in. Commissioner Walker, please. Thank you, sir.
Ready to talk. I'll
get you later.
Thank you.
Amen.
Okay, we'll move right into item 1. We do not have any recognition of presentation or proclamations. We'll move to item 2, public comment regarding general or non-agenda items. First on the list, we have Gwen Holden. Everyone has 3 minutes to do so.
My sign. And this is my sign. My name is Gwen Holden, and I live at 8150 West Point Drive. And I'm going to read about my First Amendment. I'm here today to let everybody know that the citizens that stood up for the First Amendment and filed a lawsuit against the Commission in 2021 agreed to settle the lawsuit after you met several conditions. You rescinded the vote you took in 2021 to sue the citizens like me who were wearing a piece of foam like this on their shirts or around their neck as they tried to get you to quit wasting millions of tax dollars. You had to pay our attorney $10,000. And because you dragged the lawsuit out for over 2.5 years before rescinding the vote and settling the case, you cost the taxpayers thousands more that you used to pay an attorney to defend your actions. I am wearing another piece of foam today with a message for each of you, all 14 of you. I have a sign today with a message for each of you. First Amendment. I think your supposed rule against placards is a bunch of malarkey. And the head of the Tennessee County Commission Association, Charlie Curtis, told me on the phone that you couldn't sue me for wearing this. Now I'm back, and I think I have a right to know if you think that I am violating your rule against placards. And if you think I am violating your supposed rule against placards, sue me like you voted to do in the first place. Now, Mr. Richards, I have a question. Are you going to start working for the road department in the next 3 months?
Don't answer that, Mr. Richardson. This is public comment.
You don't have to answer it if you don't want to. That's up to you. I'm asking the question. I'll know shortly.
Good job.
Next on our list, Susan Deering.
I'm Susan Deering, and I live at 5715 Amy Drive. And we have been subjected to increased noises at our location, which is a new building, new residence. And as a result, I have learned that the county has failed to enact any noise ordinances within the county. As a result, I am here to give you a suggestion, because most of the complaints for noise in the county are coming back to music. Let's get simple. Let's just hit the music. Don't get all in this complicated, convoluted description of what's noise, what's allowable, who can do it, who can't. I have sent out an excerpt from Nashville Metropolitan, and it's a very simple definition, and I would like to be able to read part of this to the county commission. This basically states it is unlawful for any person to operate or allow the operation of any sound amplification equipment so as to create sounds that are plainly audible from the boundary line of the nearest residential occupied property. For multifamily structures, including apartments, condominiums, and other residential arrangements where boundary lines cannot be readily determined, it shall be unlawful to operate or allow the operation of any sound amplification equipment so as to create sounds that are plainly audible from any point within the interior of another residential unit in the same complex or within the boundary line of the nearest residentially occupied property. For purposes of this section, sound amplification equipment means a radio, tape player, compact disc player, audio player, television, electronic audio equipment, musical instrument, sound amplifier, or mechanical or electronic sound-making device that produces, reproduces, or amplifies sound. And it goes on later on down in this description to say, for the purpose of this subsection, plainly audible, and that's the definition here, means any sound which clearly can be heard by unimpaired auditory senses. So, if a sheriff gets a report or a 911 call and the operator can hear the sound coming from the call, from the caller conveyed on that 911 call, that's definable audible. Okay? If a law enforcement officer, based upon a call, goes out and he's on the street, he's responding, and he can hear it in his
Ma'am, I'm
car.
sorry, your time is up.
Okay.
I'm very sorry.
Thank you.
Yes. We have a motion on the floor and we have a second to continue. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So backing up, if the law enforcement officer can hear the sound coming from within his car, that's again a violation, easily definable. If a caller or resident, that is the complainant, has audio, video, recording, date and time stamp that can be shown to the officer regarding the offense, again, that's another clearly definable, plainly audible and clearly definable, which means this definition that Nashville has had on the books for a while and the state of Tennessee meets, that has met the definition through the court system for the state of Tennessee. For heaven's sakes, it should be simple enough for it eliminates the decimal meters. It's the answer to all of our problems. And as far as the commercial property that's also been talked about in this county, and I'm not naming it, but everyone knows who it is affecting a residential area, but it is a commercial property. And I think as far as the county is concerned, we need to have a permitting process for commercial entities to go through, if they want sound coming from, music coming from their entity, they need to go through a permit process, have sound barriers installed, yada, yada, yada. That would go back to the Planning Commission, so forth and so on. But let's get simple. Just deal with the music. There's music ordinance laws on the books for automobiles. Let's extend it to R1 and R2 zoning areas. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next on our list, Andrea Rhodes.
Good evening. I am Susan's daughter. I'm actually live right next door to her as well. So I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an insight into the situation that we're dealing with over there, because we are subjected to it as well. We have just moved over there within the past year. We came here from Wilmington, North Carolina, to purchase some land and live in the country where we were expecting to have peaceful, quiet enjoyment of some property. Where we're from, a noise ordinance is not unusual. In fact, we completely expected to have one here. Since we've been living there, we were very rudely awakened to the fact that not only is there not a noise ordinance to protect that quiet enjoyment of the property, there is also a neighbor in our neighborhood who is very disrespectful of all of his neighbors, and has been for a long time. We have been subjected to routine, often extremely loud, obnoxious, and very explicit music from that residence, accompanied with sound amplifiers and bass. The music is played all hours of the day and night. It's very explicit language. Our 11-year-old daughter has been exposed to all kinds of things. The bass is very deep. It rattles the neighbors' windows. We have neighbors who are night shift workers, who are trying to sleep during the day. They can't. People who have children. I myself am a professional worker in the home. I conduct meetings in my home, video calls, things that I can't do while this is happening. The person in question is not responsive to law enforcement's requests to cut it down and/or stop. We call law enforcement. They can hear the music over the phone. They come by. He turns it down while they're there. Immediately as they drive away, he yanks it all the way back up. It happens at 3 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's just incredibly frustrating. So I just wanted to give some kind of context to what my mom just said as a proposed solution to the issues. I know that we are not the only ones in the county experiencing these types of issues. And I mean, it's not tractors, it's not cows, it's not, livestock noises. And we know there's normal noises. This is deliberate infringement on his neighbor's privacy and ability to control his property. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next on our list, Dan Pellegrin.
Thank you, Commissioners. Congratulate you after fight for this for 2 years. I just want to comment, I'm not going to comment about my issue there, about what Mr. Long, I think what you would have brought up the last meeting about the west side, or I think it's west side noise thing, or whatever you had the issue with. I'm not sure, but I just want to comment about that one. We all, and I not congratulate you, but sympathy for your father who served in World War II. I have relatives too also. And I served 6 years in the military too. And one of the things we do is, if we all have here, is we all took an oath to the Constitution where it says, basically, we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, assure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, but everybody knows everything. Now, I want to bring out domestic tranquility. That's basically peace at home. That's what it means. If you look on the dictionary and all, that's what it's going to mean. People should have their home. Outside noise is one thing, but you should have the quietness when you go in your home. That's where you want to escape everything and have your peace and quiet and be able to just relax. Also, the Declaration of Independence also states life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. We should have happiness in our home, no matter where you live and anywhere. But I believe that's your sanctuary. When you have enough outside, you should be able to go in your home and be able to enjoy it without hearing outside influences from anybody else. And so please, I ask you, beg you actually, let's do something, please. Not for just me, for everybody in this county. It's a good issue, and take the lead, show your leadership and everything else, and let's help people. I appreciate it. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next on our list is Wendy Ellis. Before you begin, Miss Ellis, I need to confirm you are a resident of Hamblen County.
I have my childhood home still here, even though I choose to live in a different county. My grandbabies will probably be raised here.
That's go ahead.
My name is Wendy Ellis. I was born and raised here, still have my childhood home here. I'm here to speak to y'all on the rules and regulations of camper homes. Shelter is one of the basic needs to survive, and y'all are denying them that. These campers puts a solid roof over their heads with the means to take a bath and cook. Y'all are making these people homeless, doesn't give them that. At least campers on their own land is a safe place for them to lay their head at night. Tim Horner, do you know who I am?
Ma'am, you need to direct your comments to the commission.
Well, you should, because we share the same grandparents. Your mom is my great-aunt Jean. So, Horner, in your corner, you don't even know who your own family is. What makes you worthy of that seat that you're sitting in? I bet you don't even know that your own family.
Ma'am, you need to refrain from pointing out. Please, you're here to address this commission,
Okay,
not a
fine.
person.
Well, y'all let people live in campers as long as they're building a house. But what about the people that's saving money to buy a mobile home? You let people stay in these campers for any length of time means that it is not a safety issue. So what's the real reason? Mr. Cutshaw, you have a beautiful house. Nice landscaping, but a few doors down from you, you have a camper sitting up on a hill with extension cords run through it. It
Don't know
looks
about it.
trashy every time that you go by. And I understand that. We are not talking about campers like that. We are talking about one camper hooked to utilities, septic, on their own private land. The house the camper that is down your road, that's what we would call unsanitary and unsafe to live in. Hamblen, this is not a state problem. This is a Hamblen County problem. When you look online, each of y'all, your names, address, phone numbers, district, and even what church you attend. But I wouldn't call y'all Christians, because Christians would not be kicking families out of the only homes that they can afford.
Yeah, you're out of line, ma'am. We don't call out like that. You're here to express your issue, but not personal.
Okay, well, I promise that if y'all do not change this rules and regulations, that I'll rally against every one of y'all to make sure that you lose your seats come election time. And I pray that God makes you have sleepless and restless nights like these families has had for the last 90 days trying to figure out where they're going to go or what they're going to do.
Thank you for your comments. That concludes our sign-in sheet. Is there anyone else that would like to address this commission on non-agenda items? Yes, ma'am, you will need to state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
My name's Sandra Marshall. I live at 5111 Union Grove Road. My mom's home I still own is at 2752 North Coffee Road. My nephew lives in it. I've been here my whole life, and 90 days is not enough time. It's just not. Section 8 in public housing waiting list is 9 months to 2 years. 90 days is not enough time for these people to get a roof over their head. They need more time. It's in your zeal to enforce this regulation, you're creating a much bigger problem for yourselves and for the community. Homelessness in this country is a nationwide problem, and you're adding to it. We don't need to do that. The county I remember, and I'm going to put his name out there because I know he wouldn't mind, Wayne Litz, years ago, helped a widowed woman. Her husband had died. Her house was falling apart, and it was not safe for her to live in. He got together with the county government, and they put her a single white trailer up there and saved her. And when she died happy and safe, knowing that she was valued and loved by her community. All these people need is some help. They don't need to be punished for being poor. They need some help. And I just look at you all, and I cannot believe that with all of the intelligence that's in this room, that we cannot come up with a better solution than just tossing them out in the streets. There's got to be a better way. I think if we come together as a community, work together like we should, that it should be solved without people being homeless or living in the streets or having to live in a tent on their land. How's that safer? Sometimes your approach to the safety issue doesn't appear to hold water, and it appears that it's all about vanity, about it doesn't look good. That's some opinions. It may not look good. Poor people don't look good. They're poor. They live in bad housing. They just have to survive. However, I think it makes Hamblen County look very, very bad when you're tossing poor families out in the street because it's all they can afford. That's not the Hamblen County that I grew up with and love. We can do better than that. We all can. And this problem is going to be known from Nashville to Bristol, southwest Virginia, southeast Kentucky, north and South Carolina, the western part of Georgia. It's going to be known. It's going to get out there. And I don't want all of our neighbors to think that we're a heartless bunch of zealots that don't give a crap about poor people. We can do better. I know we can, and I just beg you, please, give them at least more time. Try to come up with a way of helping them instead of just tossing them in the streets. It's just not the right thing to do. It's not the Christian thing to do. It's not the American thing to do. And it's not the humane thing to do.
Thank you for your comments.
We can do better.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
comments. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. You'll need to state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
I'm Tom Miller. I live in Pikeville, Kentucky, and I got a camper right there on 1653 Cross Drive. And I don't know you all's rules, but down home everything's different. So, you know, I'm just thinking, I studied on this for 2 weeks. At 21, I brought my camper down. So they said I had the license in Tennessee, put a tag on it, so I did that. And we talked about this. I come to the courthouse over, and I said, look, we don't know you all's rules. Give us a pamphlet when we come to buy a piece of land. So, now, my camper right there, I've not been down here since back in before Christmas. What we do, we come every 2 weeks and clean ours up in summertime. And my boy, he fishes tournaments down here, so he uses it every once in a while. So we ain't down here just a little bit. But I thought about this all week, and the simplest thing is, you know, you all know where the dirty people's at. Get cleaned up or get them out. People like me and people that keep the place clean. What I would do if I was you fellas, but always campers, because you're going to start a war probably, I would say from this day forward that no more campers come into this county, and after a while they'll all weed yourselves out. But the ones that's nasty and dirty, you can push them out because of insanity, you know what I'm saying. But you know, I enjoy coming down here once in a blue moon, but first me, and there's a woman here the other day couldn't move her camper because she couldn't afford it. And she lived in Rogersville, I believe it was. And just like me, after 21, I was told, I had built 2 buildings out there. I didn't know to get a permit. I had no idea. So I got a letter in the mail and a picture of my place saying I was out of compliance with no permits. So I come down and talk to them. We talk, you know, nice like we are now. And it seemed like as a certain fellow said, don't worry about it. He called me at home. He said, right now we've got too much on our plate to worry about campers. So I went ahead. He said, well, what about the permit? Don't worry about it. Okay. So I go out and pull me a slab, real neat, put my camper on it real neat, put a shed over it. Now, you're talking $70,000, $80,000. And you know, Mom had 11 kids to school at one time, and we worked our butts off to have that little place. There's no way I can build a place right now, and there's no way I can pull my camper out of there and hit setting already in the dry to please the county, to, you know. So that's all I got to say about it, but there's no way people will stand by and do this, you know. And I'm telling you straight out by a free heart. I won't camper it because I can't afford it. So I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir, for your comments. Is there anyone else that'd like to speak to this commission? You'll have your time. State your name and your address, please, and you have 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. My name is Dolores Neesmith Poe. I live at 2052 Ruthina Circle. And I have a lot beside of me, and I have an elderly man that lives there in a camper. He does have the electric. He's got septic. He has everything. He's had medical problems, and I do take him back and forth to the doctor. But he just needs more time to find a place to go, because anywhere you go, it's anywhere from 9 months to 2 years. And I just ask that you give him more time if they can't leave the camper there.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your comments. Yes, sir. State your name and address, please.
Franklin McFarland, 2527 Lakemont Circle.
Okay. You have 3 minutes.
About the camper thing.
Okay.
A couple years ago, my son, his daughter, and my grandson sold their house so he could go to flight school and do some other stuff. So I put electric, I put sewage, I put everything, and there's a camper in my driveway. Well, they got a house a couple months ago, and I thought we was gonna close it up, and I was all happy with that. But I've been trying to get my mom to come here from Madisonville for the last few years because she's 79 years old. So she doesn't want to stay by herself. So she agreed to move here. I finally got her here, got her in the camper because that's what she wanted. A week later, I get this letter. I knew nothing about it. So it says I had to do this by appeal by a letter. I really don't know how to go about that. I just need a little help. That's all I'm asking for.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I can get her into the house right away. I mean, I'm just trying.
Okay.
I just need help. That's all I'm asking.
Yes, sir.
And thank you for your father's service. I served 30 years. I lost a lot of good men over there. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Is there anyone else that'd like to address this commission?
Linda Noe, Joe Stevens Road. I think it's wonderful what happened tonight. People getting up and speaking to their governmental leaders and asking for help. And we've seen it, the noise situation that's been going on for years. No solution. The camper situation, it was kind of sprung on everybody rather suddenly. And I remember other people have been up here, as well as a gentleman that just spoke, saying more time, maybe more time and more compassion. How about a moratorium, as much as the gentleman was speaking, that no future camping situations or camper situations, but as was suggested months ago, grandfather in those people who are doing it properly, not people who are putting waste out on the ground, but people who this is the best they can do. Think about those two possibilities. And on this Memorial Day weekend, I salute your father and all those who served. Amen. My father was in the Pacific. He was in the Navy. And my husband served in Vietnam. And we owe the tremendous debt of gratitude, not only to those today, but those of our forefathers who gave us the right of freedom of speech.
Amen.
The most important right we have. And I ask that you respect all the people who speak and you listen and consider doing something rather than just nod or, oh, glad they're through. Step up and do something for those people who are not as fortunate as many of us and as many of you. They should have a peace in their home. They should be able to live in a camper if that's the best they can do. And yes, there should be sanitation and so forth like that. I'm not saying just any old thing, but have compassion. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else that'd like to address this commission on non-agenda items?
Maybe I'll be the last, Ms. Petrol. Hello, my name is Rhonda Morgan. I live at 2784 North Coffee Road. I'm here over the camper situation. I've spoke with y'all before recently in February, the 12th, in fact, and I received my letter on March the 15th. I sold my camper today. It's gone. It'll be gone probably by Monday. It'll be gone off my property. Mine and my son's property. Michael Wilder's his name. I don't know where I'm going. I have no means to run over to Clayton's and buy me a 100,000 mobile home and have it delivered next week. That's not going to happen. Mr. Neesmith, last time I was here, said something about living in a tent was legal. Well, the only thing about that is last tent I bought didn't come with plumbing. No toilet, no nothing like that. So if you want me to live in a tent on my property, where would you suggest I go to the bathroom at? If you don't want sewage on the ground, my camper had bathroom, shower, running water, hooked to the septic tank, hooked to the power pole, clean, nice place. But now I'm going to be living in a tent, and I guess just using the bathroom on the ground. That's what y'all wanted, right? So I did it. So when you go home tonight, you curl up in that bed and you think about that. I hope it changes your mind for the other people about giving them some more time. Because I found out that this was happening in January through someone else that knows about these committee meetings and goes to them. I don't attend them, not until now. Most people are like my mother. She worked from daylight to dark. And by the time she came home and took care of 5 kids and the dogs and the house and everything else, she didn't have time to go, or at that time you couldn't go on YouTube and watch the meetings to see what y'all are doing. I didn't know I could go on YouTube and watch the meetings and see what you all are up to. Because I'm in your district, and how many people did you all contact that voted you in and told you all, that put you in this position to say, get out in 90 days? How many of you went to any of your citizens and said, this is fixing to happen? We've done passed this law. We didn't notify you all prior to doing it, because I've looked in the Citizen Tribune, I've looked everywhere, and I can't find anywhere that the public was notified that y'all were even considering this. Now in 2021, Tommy McKinney and I spoke about putting my camper on my property, and I asked him, did I need to buy a permit? Because I just got in trouble for not having a permit and putting a prefab building on my property, and I obeyed your rules and got rid of it immediately.
Thank you
And
for
I
your
asked him-
comments.
I asked
Thank you
him-
for your comments.
Well, I'll just be
Your
back
time.
next week.
Yes, ma'am, that's fine. We won't be here then, but you can come back next month. Yes, ma'am. So, a moment of privilege. This will be a moment of privilege from the chair. A couple of things that I'd like for everyone to understand. We hear you. Our county in 1990 adopted zoning. And within that zoning, it does not allow for living in campers. We do allow single-wide mobile home use, double-wide mobile home use in the proper zone. A1 zone, you can have a single-wide home. Whomever said that we couldn't was in error on that. We do allow that. 1999, this county adopted building codes. Within that building codes also does not allow permanent resident within the camper. There's several things that go along with that, but these are not new. This commission did take up a definition change that we adopted only for an RV and a camper. What the definition of, that's all we have done. That said, these comments about needing more time, I ask that you contact the planning office and ask for more time. And if you're not granted that, I personally feel, if there is valid reason, that they're going to work with you. That's what I feel. And if not, then I'd like to ask Mr. McKinney or whomever, what we can do about that. So I understand this county is not about trying to kick somebody out of their home. So I do agree, if you need more time, that's something that can be worked on. Zoning, by the way, folks, is to protect all citizens, not just a few. It's to protect all citizens. That's why we have zoning. That's why we have building codes. By the way, a tent is not considered a permanent resident. Now, excuse me. Well, I'm sorry, ma'am. You're out of order. You're out of order, please. You had your comments. Thank you. Now, one other thing. There was a case mentioned earlier. That case against this commission was settled without judgment. Without judgment. There was no judgment. They said it was settled. Our insurance carrier settled this. This commission made no concessions that I'm aware of, other than rescinding the vote, which they fought us that night, if you'll remember. They disagreed with that. So I am not aware of any concessions. Point of privilege is over. We'll move on now. Here we go. No, sir, you're out of order. You had your moment. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, sir, you're out. We're moving on. Sorry. We move now to item 2B, public comments regarding agenda items. Is there anyone that would like to address this commission? Well, they're out of order. We're moving on. Is there anybody that would like to speak to regular items? Seeing none, we'll move now to item number 3. Nominations, appointments. The Marshtown Hamblen Library Board nomination. Mayor Britton has submitted the following nominee on behalf of the Hamblen County Library Board of Trustees, Terry Tilson, to fill her first full term as a library board trustee. I need a motion for this, please.
Motion.
We have a motion from Mr. Reed.
Second.
We have a second from Commissioner Hahn. Is there any discussion on this item?
How long is, I apologize. How long is her term, out of curiosity?
I should have stated that. July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2027. It looks like 3 years.
Okay. Is she replacing someone?
Yes, she is replacing someone, but I do not know who that is.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. I do see that. Thank you, sir. Any other question? Is that all you need, Commissioner? Let's vote this item, please.
Chris Cutshaw,
Aye.
Thomas Doty,
Yes.
Edna Green,
Yes.
Stan Harden,
Yes.
Bobby Hahn,
Aye.
Tim Horner,
Yes.
Joe Hudson,
Yes.
Peggy Howe,
Yes.
Rodney Long,
Yes.
Mike Reed, Mike Richardson,
Yes.
Wayne Neesmith,
Yes.
Kyle Walker.
Yes.
13.
This motion passes. Thank you very much. Item 4, Calendar Rules Committee report. Chairman Doty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 4A is the consent calendar items. I put the approval of those in the form of a motion.
We have a motion. We do have a second. Is there any discussion on the approval of the consent calendar items? Seeing none, let's vote this motion, please.
Item 4B is the approval of the regular calendar items, and I put that in the form of a motion.
We have a motion, and we do have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, let's vote this motion, please.
13 yeas, 0 nays.
This motion carries.
I'll have Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir, thank you. Item 5, we have nothing on item 5. We'll move straight to item 6, approval of the consent calendar. I need a motion, please.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We do have a motion,
Second.
and let's do that on the board, please, and we have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, let's vote this motion, please.
13 yeas, 0 nays.
This motion carries. All right, we will now recess this Hamblen County Legislative Body and take up item 7A, Resolution 2413. Actually, folks, just let me explain. We are in recess now from our Hamblen County Legislative Body and take up recess for zoning. There's 3 items here. We're going to take these one at a time as far as anyone that would like to speak to them, and then we'll move back into our body. Item 7A, Resolution 2413 to amend zoning map of Hamblen County, Tennessee by rezoning District 03, Tax Map 0130, Group A, Parcel 003.008027 East Andrew Johnson Highway, Whitesburg, Tennessee 37891 from A1 to C1. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to this rezoning? Seeing none, let's move to item B, Resolution 2414 to amend zoning map of Hamblen County, Tennessee by rezoning District 03, Tax Map 0130, Group A, Parcel 0048035 East Andrew Johnson Highway, Whitesburg, Tennessee 37891 from Zone A1 to Zone C1. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to this? Seeing none. 7C, Resolution 2415, the appeal to amend zoning map of Hamblen County, Tennessee by rezoning District 03, Tax Map 013, Parcel Part of 005.00989 Simpson Road, Whitesburg, Tennessee 37891 from A1 to C1. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to that? Seeing no one, we will now close this public hearing and now reconvene as our Hamblen County Legislative Body and take up item 8A. Are we ready? All right. Item 8A, Resolution 2413 to amend. I have to do this, folks, to be legal. That's all. Sorry. Bear with me. Resolution 2413 to amend zoning map of Hamblen County, Tennessee by rezoning District 03, Tax Map 0130, Group A, Parcel 0038027 East AJ Highway, Whitesburg, Tennessee 37891 from A1 to C1. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Should we have, yes, Commissioner Horner? Is it? Are we ready to vote? Yeah, there it is. And we do have a second. Is there any discussion on this rezoning? Hearing none, let's vote this motion, please. And this motion carries. Item 8B, the resolution 2414 to amend zoning map of Hamblen County, Tennessee by rezoning District 03, Tax Map 0130, Group A, Parcel 0048035 East Andrew Johnson Highway, Whitesburg, Tennessee 37891 from A1 to C1. We need a motion for that, please.
Motion.
We have a motion, Commissioner Hahn. We do have a second. Commissioner Doty, is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, let's vote this motion, please.
Yea, 1 abstain.
And this motion carries. Item 8C, Resolution 2415, appeal to amend zoning map of Hamblen County, Tennessee by rezoning District 03, Tax Map 0113, Parcel Part of 005.989 Simpson Road, Whitesburg, Tennessee 37891 from A1 to C1. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion.
Mr. Walker has made that motion. Do we have a second? We do have a second. Now, is there any discussion on this item? none, let's vote this motion, please.
12 yea, 1 abstain.
And this motion carries. We'll move on now. Item 9, Justice Center Public Safety Committee. Chairman Horner, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 9A, change order number 20 for $154,442, and I'll put that in the form of a motion.
We do have a motion, and we have a second. Commissioner Doty, do we have any discussion on this item? Commissioner Green, you are recognized.
Thank you, Chairman Cutshall. My stance on this is I'll still vote no because we need some explanations. And error, I voted the wrong way on the past one, and I was hoping to put that inside the minutes to explain where I erred. But I can't vote for this because we need some accountability as far as the change orders, as far as the charges, and as far as the attorney that was brought in for the contract. And as far as I know, I've not heard or seen anything. If anyone else has, please share. But we need some explanations. This thing has gotten way above what I expected, and it keeps growing like a baby coming through. So, that being said.
Thank you. Commissioner Green, I need to ask, you should have submitted your letter for minutes during the consent calendar. We have accepted those minutes. They are in record. We can accept your letter. I don't know that we can do it now. We'll figure this out.
Thank you.
You said you wanted to submit a letter, right?
Sir.
That should have been done earlier.
My apologies. I missed it, sir.
Yes. Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. Is there any more discussion on this item? Seeing none, let's vote this motion, please.
11 yea, 2 nay.
And this motion carries.
That's all I have.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We'll move to item 10. Finance Committee Chairman Bobby Hahn, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 10A, FY24 Homeland Security Grant Application. I'll put that in the form of a motion.
We have a motion. We have a second. Commissioner Neesmith, you are recognized.
Is this a matching grant?
I don't think so.
It is not a matching grant. It is 100%.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Anyone else have any discussion? Hearing none, let's vote this motion, please.
12 yea, 1 nay.
And this motion carries.
Item 10B, Annual Debt Report for the year ending June 30th, 2024. I make that motion.
We have a motion. We do have a second. Is there any discussion on the debt report? Seeing none, let's vote this motion, please.
Yea, 1 nay.
And this motion carries.
Item 10C1, Hamblen County Department of Education Budget Amendment Number 7. No increase, just moving funds, and I make that motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, let's vote the motion, please.
Yea, 1 abstain.
And this motion carries.
Item 10C2, Hamblen County Department of Education Budget Amendment Number 8, increase of $1,262,500.21, and I make a motion.
We have a motion. We do have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, let's vote the motion, please.
Yea, 1 abstain.
This motion carries. One moment of privilege, please. Just for everyone that's attending our meeting tonight that hasn't before, during this commission meeting, I just want you guys to understand that most of the work that's being voted on tonight was discussed 10 days ago. And we went through that. Tonight is formalizing what we did 10 days ago. And there's always options to discuss. I just wanted y'all to know that we're not just running through business. Continue, sir.
Thank you, sir. Item 10C3, Fund 101, Capital Equipment, $77,738. I make that motion.
We have a motion. We do have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Commissioner Green, you're recognized.
Chairman Cutshaw, is that the road department, out of curiosity?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Is that the road department, sir?
We're on,
No, that's not road department,
Okay,
because it's 101.
okay, thank you.
1 second.
It is public
Get caught up.
safety. Chris Bell from the truck.
What you got?
Public safety.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Doty.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Chairman Cutshaw.
All right, thank you. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, hearing none, let's vote this motion. This motion carries.
Item 10C4, Fund 101, Cherokee Park, $2,487.26. I make that motion.
We have a motion, we do have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, let's vote the motion, please. This motion carries.
Item 10C5, Fund 101, Circuit Court, $8,044. I make that motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, let's vote the motion, please. This motion carries.
Item 10C6, Fund 101, Circuit Court, $20,110. Make that motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, let's vote the motion, please.
13 yeas, 0 nays.
This motion carries.
Item 10C7, Fund 101, Courtroom Security, $12,000. And I make that motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, let's vote the motion, please.
13 yeas, 0 nays.
And this motion carries.
Item 10C8, Fund 101, Drug Court, $10,000. I make that motion.
We have a motion. We have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, let's vote the motion, please.
13 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion carries.
Item 10C9, Fund 101, Hamblen County Sheriff's Department, $1,300.02. I make that motion.
We have a motion. We have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, let's vote the motion, please.
13 yeas, 0 nays.
This motion carries.
Item 10C10, Fund 101, Jail, $10,000. And I make that motion.
We have a motion. We have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, let's vote the motion, please.
12 yeas, 1 nay.
This motion passes.
Item 10C11, Fund 101, Libraries, Contributions, $18,100. I make that motion.
We have a motion. We have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, let's vote the motion, please.
13 yeas, 0 nay.
This motion carries.
Item 10C12, Fund 101, Register of Deeds, $5,500. I make that motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, let's vote the motion, please.
Yeas, 0 nay.
This motion passes.
Item 10C13, Fund 101, Soil Conservation, $29,335. I make that motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, let's vote the motion, please.
Yeas, 0 nay.
And this motion passes.
Item 10C14, Fund 101, Sheriff's Department, $60,000. I make that motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, let's vote this motion, please.
Yeas, 0 nay.
And this motion passes.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Hahn. We will now move into item 11, the Personnel Committee. Chairman Doty, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have item 11A, Tennessee Department of Health, county employee raises and salary adjustments. And during the work session, we chose option 1, and I put that in the form of a motion for approval.
We have a motion on the floor. We do have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, let's vote the motion, please.
yeas, 0 nay.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Motion passes. Thank you, sir. Everyone, that concludes our business tonight. For announcements, to be aware, June 2024, we have our next committee meeting on June the 10th. Our next commission meeting on June the 20th. But please be aware that on our budget hearing will continue on June the 4th. During that night, we will discuss amendments to our budget, and we will be voting on departments on June the 4th. Everyone got that? Commissioner Green.
Yes, sir, thank you. Just want to clarify, when we settled with the county, they did give us each $1 apiece, just to clarify the decision, just so you folks know. And I'd be happy to have my check printed and wear it in. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, insurance paid that one, I suppose, so didn't know that. Good for you.
Didn't figure
Good for
you
you.
did, sir.
So is there any minds clear? All minds clear? Yes, Ms. Howe?
Yes, sir. Thank you. What would it take for us to say, or how do we go about, if there was an extension? If public housing is 9 months, then campers have 9 months. If public housing is a year, then we have a year. What would it take to get that done?
Commissioner Howe, I would suppose if there was a process involved, that they were on that list, that there could be something maybe worked out, but that would take a committee action to go through. My guess is the Planning Commission has that authority to extend these requests. And I do not know the extenuating circumstances of one or over the other. We have to rely on our code enforcement officer and the work of that commission.
Yes,
they're doing.
Thank you.
But I would imagine, just as building permit, they're allowed. I just see that there is leeway.
Okay.
I can't answer that. I'm speaking out of turn, not having talked with them, but I can see that be a possibility.
All righty. Thank you, sir.
Let me ask this, is there any, this thing she's got pretty good about the sound thing here. She passed out today? Look
Yeah,
at
that,
thing.
that was from
Is there
Nashville.
something we can do consideration of that thing, maybe do something with that?
Commissioner Huntsman, I do expect, once we're through budget, once we're through these things, we have a couple of items that we will be looking at once again. Commissioner Long, in our last meeting, asked that we look again at noise, and we have continued work with RV and camper study. So I expect those items to come up. I do. Whether that be June, I can't promise you right now whether that'll be in June or July, but I do expect these items to come. Is that good enough? All right. Commissioner Green.
Chairman Catshaw, did I understand you correctly that they go back to planning to possibly give leeway, or this commission?
They would need to petition them. That's where, I mean, we adopted the rules. Okay, this commission, not this commission, but the Hamblen County Commission adopts the rules. They take what we've adopted and work through that. This planning commission, the zoning board, code enforcement. They take what we've adopted through the years and apply that. That would be the first start, yes.
How would we go about finding out the meeting that they had about setting that a camper could not sit on a vacant lot? How would we go about getting the information from our county attorney who gave that opinion during the meeting, was my understanding? How would we go about getting a copy of exactly what he based his opinion on in the international codes?
I suppose you'll have to petition him. I do not know his opinion.
So you think as a commissioner, if I sent him the email, he would give us the information, or does that need to come from the commission, sir?
That would be your choice, I do believe. This commission's not taken that up yet. We've not taken that up. That is an opinion. This commission has not taken that up. And if that becomes our discussion at some point, we can do that. We have not taken that up. Yeah, the building code is in public document as far as that goes. Thank you. Thank you.
I'd just like to know what he based it on in the thing.
Well,
what
ma'am,
I
you'll
sent
have to
him.
talk with him on
Okay.
that. You're asking me his opinion. I don't know his opinion.
He won't hardly respond to me,
Well,
sir.
Anyone else? We are adjourned.